So I think Beto said to me not to start with a joke. That's what you said. It's inappropriate, but I'm going to start with a joke. So as you know, AI is a big issue, and Bill Gates is very concerned. He, in fact, decided he was going to pick somebody to be his right-hand man or right-hand woman. And he invited a group to apply for the job. 1,000 people applied. Very excitingly, he started off by saying, if you don't have an MBA from one of the top 4 global MBA programs, you should not be in the room. You will not get the job. So half of the audience got up and left. And he said, if you've not got a PhD in philosophy from Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard, Stanford, and a few other, you might as well leave now. So again, the audience came down to 100. And then he said, if you do not speak Aramaic, ancient Aramaic fluently, please leave now. And everybody left except for 2 people. And he said, right, prove to me you speak Aramaic. Speak to each other. And one said to the other, eu não sei como falar aramaico. O segundo fala, eu também, eu sou brasileiro, eu não sei também. So basically one said to the other, I don't know how to speak Aramaic, I only speak Brazilian. And the other said, I'm Brazilian as well. So this proves to you that Brazilians have the self-confidence to imagine they have a PhD and an MBA and can speak ancient Aramaic. This is who we need to run our world, certainly the world of agribusiness, and certainly artificial intelligence. Well, it's that time of the day when we need some more humor. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about some research that I've been doing over the last few weeks, and we are going to then obviously get some practicalities. Well, maybe I should start by going one more slide on, and I hope I can come back. This article appeared 2 hours ago. This is an article I wrote for Forbes magazine. I believed it would be ready for the conference. When Forbes thought ready for the conference meant 2 hours before I speak, I think it's a little bit quick, a little bit just on time, but still it's good. Please, could I go back to the first slide? O primero. Let's go back. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So we have in AI this moment, which is when AI was able to play chess and AI was able to play cards, but then they said AI will never be able to play Go. And they designed a system to play this Chinese game of Go, a very ancient game with millions of different possible moves. And the computer was playing along, and it played a move which is called Move 37. Move 37 in the game had never been seen before. And the presumption of the people watching the game who know how to play Go said, this is a mistake by the computer. The computer has made a drastic mistake. It proves that humans are still better than computers. And trying to move here. Oh, I think I'm moving too quickly. Oh, we seem to. Okay, we corrupted it there somehow. But you have that moment where the other player is looking, saying, what is move 30? How did it turns out move 37 was an invented new move, never seen before. So not only was the computer playing Go, it was playing a Go humanity had never seen. Its intelligence was going beyond what we'd seen before. This leads to, obviously, the head of Google saying, AI is probably the most important technology we've ever seen. The World Economic Forum saying that it's, I'm not sure what's happening to my slides here. Okay, some of them are mixing up here. Yuval Noah Nexus, he has described perhaps some of the challenges of AI. In fact, he seems to be very skeptical about some of the dangers of what this artificial intelligence could do, particularly with respect to democracy, particularly with respect to trust between people, and we can see that already in terms of human behavior. We've seen that the World Economic Forum has described that AI will be the most consequential technology of the century, perhaps beyond. The FAO has said that it could be a transformative threat to us. We even see a Chinese robot in the field starting to plant seeds very quickly. We can see how AI is totally transforming what we do. This is a video I just made to give an idea of where I see AI going. I hope it plays with sound, so perhaps we could just play it now, please.
AI is moving at unprecedented speeds across all industries, geographies, and everyday life as it becomes ever more artificial and intelligent. Having already disrupted whole industries, agriculture is also being transformed. The bigger question is now, if AI were in charge, what would agriculture look like? How would it transform? What would it disrupt? Would it challenge preconceptions? Would the farm go up, be vertical? Would the farm be circular? On soil, over water, or over air? Multi-cropping, instead of monocropping. Could AI eliminate the risks of weather and markets, attracting new investors to farming? Will AI fully automate decision-making in real time informed by actionable insights? What impact will AI have on end-to-end system profitability? Human ingenuity evolved creating machines to replicate what they saw in nature, or in human capabilities, from flying machines to robots. By 1956, computers leapt beyond automation to become what was coined artificial intelligence. Today AI is one of the most searched terms on Google. AI is already helping farms do it better, faster, and more accurately. AI uses data, comprehensive real-time information from the barn and supply chain, empowering grain stores and feed mills to automate production, improve efficiencies and quality, autonomously making decisions from real-time information that humans cannot see or comprehend, faster, more accurately, without bias, ensuring better agronomists, veterinarians, nutritionists, and farmers. But in the end, that's just taking what we have and making it better. Imagine AI running and even designing farms, precision husbandry, harvesting, and harmonious supply chains. Trees, plants, and livestock replicating systems of the past, but informed by AI. Interconnected complexity managed by AI, sensors, drones, and robots. Transforming food production, consistency, and security while better utilizing the finite resources of the planet. What do you think? A future of not just AI making current farming better. A total reset. An AI revolution. Can you imagine that?
So what we find is that a lot of times we think about AI in terms of improving existing agriculture, and the video is trying to suggest, is there another way to do it? If we look at the questions I asked of a panel of experts, these are the questions I asked for 40 experts, 20 more or less who were involved in AI, and 20 who were involved in food and agri. But all of them had shown interest in how AI might influence the future of food. When we look at these 40 experts, and sorry, to go back to the questions I was asking, we started off by saying, how will AI transform the business of food? What jobs and positions are at risk? What advice would you give CEOs thinking of implementing AI? Do you have any concerns about the use of AI? And what actions should a CEO take in the next 6 months? And the purpose of this was to have these experts give quick answers, not long answers. So the answers we're looking at here are what I would call top of mind, being not with long reflections. The experts very clearly understood the power of what this could do for food and agri. It describes optimism about where it could improve the existing sustainability, existing productivity, and what we can do. Skepticism about the hype, that perhaps we keep talking about how amazing AI is, and they're saying some of this runs ahead of the reality of what it can achieve. There's a need for leadership in AI. It needs to be led from the top of organizations, not by the IT department or not by somebody in the middle. And we need insiders to see beyond incrementalism. But what you find is that those in food and agriculture typically see it in small increments. AI experts see it in big things. It also talks about the importance of transformation, which, as I just mentioned, comes more from the outsiders. When we compare we did in the study compare the human insights to a virtual panel, which I'll show in a minute. There are risks of hallucinations with AI. Anybody who has asked it a question that looks 80% fantastic and 15% seems to be completely made up is a real concern, but these things are getting better and better. And we have the human factor of reading through the AI responses and understanding exactly what this means. So when we looked at our answers, there was also a question about risk management, how to avoid the risk of the information being hacked or used in the wrong way. How do you manage all of this data once it's in a system? So normally that picture would show the 40 experts, but I'm not sure entirely what has happened with the corruption here. Maybe the AI is taking over my slides, I'm not sure. When I looked at this study, we wrote the study as I showed the example of the article I've just written on Forbes. The first article I released on LinkedIn was written by ChatGPT. The article was written by ChatGPT. That article has been read about 14,000 times in 10 days. And the second article, which looked at how the food and agri compared to the AI experts, that has been downloaded about 6,000 times. In this second part, which is the most concerning for me, the one that perhaps you should be most worried about, you see very clearly that the AI people are thinking about this being immediate. This is fast. Whereas the food and agri people think it's going to be slow. They think it's going to be incremental. We see also, in yellow, I'm highlighting the differences between the two groups. We've got I'm going to turn this way so I can read a little bit the screen. The growth and innovation versus cost control. So for people in food and agri, we're thinking about reducing cost. They're thinking about growing the overall opportunity. There's a digital divide that the AI experts see between those who have access to the internet and those who don't, whereas insiders see it as being a factor for getting us towards consolidation, towards larger farms, larger agribusinesses. I mentioned already the speed of implementation. I found that the AI experts tend to be visionary. The people in food and agriculture tend to be more pragmatic. We also see that in terms of the sequence and the opportunity for perhaps the danger to jobs, the AI experts think that the people in this room are at risk. They think we're going to have less agronomists, less veterinarians, and we're going to have less nutritionists and less managers. The people in food and agri responded they thought the risk was to blue-collar work, the use of robotics, the working in factories, etc. To be clear, when we conclude all this, it's not saying one is right and one's wrong, it's just showing that people outside our business have a very dramatically different view of what AI is going to do. Displacement versus upskilling, guardrails are important according to AI. The insiders think more partnership. We also see, in terms of where this goes, the advice is be urgent from the AI people, strategic caution versus the insiders. Data as a product is what the outsiders see. The insiders say data should just be an enabler. We also see the requirement for doing rapid pilots and experimentation. The outsiders very much talk about the risks and the intervention points, whereas the insiders really see it as more fundamental, integral. Concerns and doubts, move with caution, look at plumbing better versus governance issues from outsiders. Again, we're seeing that the outsiders want us to implement quickly. The insiders talk about maybe slowing and just being not first but last. And actions in the next 6 months, it's really all about do it quickly for the outsiders, do it more slowly for the insiders. And the concern is that the outsiders might know things that we don't know. So the final reflections very much reflect that. It's about AI will not replace humans. If you wait for a perfect roadmap, it's not going to come. Transformation starts with your culture. You need an AI culture in your company. And treat AI like electricity. See it as fundamental as that. There are other thoughts and comments here contained on the screen, but primarily it's about really marginalizing a risk and finding ways to prepare for this revolution that's coming. What was scarier about this, and I mentioned this to Professor Marcus here, we created an outside virtual panel, which they would call agentic AI. And the agentic AI is basically where you create these false people who then have a debate through ChatGPT about the future. In this case, we defined one of the farmers as having 20,000 dairy cows, another one having 20,000 hectares of land, another one was a big agribusiness like one of the ABCDs, another one was a food company, and another one was a consumer. And as they went through the debate, this, by the way, ChatGPT took 35 minutes to create the script. It was almost 40,000 words long. When you summarize the script down, the conclusions of the virtual panel, to my mind, were better than the conclusions of the human panel. So when we think about agentic AI, that is the idea we'll replace managers with agents of AI, who, as somebody pointed out to me at lunch, can speak in a language which is not English or Portuguese, so they move much faster than we do, with the ability to comprehend massive databases without resorting to memory or to tiredness or the other mistakes humans make. And really the detail that the virtual panel brought to the understanding of the future of AI was deeper, in my view, and better than what I was getting from the human 40 experts. So if we want to look at the conclusion which I made this morning, I showed this slide. What do you need to do with AI in your company? You need to use what I'm calling the acronym DRIVE, D-R-I-V-E. So the D obviously stands for fixing your data, making sure the data is clean and usable as possible, although ChatGPT, LLMs, large language models, they're capable of dealing with very disparate, very different data sources. The second one is to run purposeful pilots. Don't just try something for trying it, but have a specific purpose and a way of measuring whether that pilot has produced profits. Insiders are preferred to consultants. Sorry to the consultants in the room, but that was the conclusion of the consultants, even in the group. They certainly the humans. They say you run a big risk if the top of the company doesn't get involved. So everybody needs to be engaged. No VIPs are allowed. The directors, the CEOs, the board of directors cannot be divorced from this. And you need to execute now, as Nike like to say, just do it. JDI, it's getting it done now. I was at a conference last week with dairy farmers. They said, what should you do? And I said, download ChatGPT today. Don't just download the free version. Ideally, pay the $20 a month. It's cheaper than probably Netflix. And download it and learn how to use it. Because the future of business is going to be how to write prompts. It's not going to be about which college you went to. Sorry for, sometimes some of the colleges based here, including Harven, who've invited us. It's not going to be just about the college you went to or how rich your parents were. It's not going to be about your knowledge. It's not going to be about your IQ. It's going to be about the ability to write good prompts. And we're going to find, unfortunately, in our case, that having that college education is not going to be sufficient. You're going to have to learn how to do it now. So the survey, as I mentioned, AI experts have a massively interesting view of what the future of agriculture is, but they don't understand the context. The insiders all understand all the context and all the reasons why it can't work, but can't comprehend what's coming next in AGI, generalized intelligence. They don't understand the use of agentic AI. They don't understand what the next large language models are going to be. So they're much more limited in terms of the ability to see what's coming next in agriculture. And from my perspective, if you're going to do something in your company, in your university, in your startup, you're going to need both perspectives. Don't use one alone. And we're certainly at a critical point in terms of this technology where we can't rely on instinct anymore. Now we have to rely on something else, which is data. So the future's in your hands. That's the book I wrote 3 years ago, which is now in Portuguese and Spanish and obviously in English and Chinese. Unfortunately, did not contain ChatGPT because ChatGPT came out 6 weeks after the book was published. But if you would like to download it to have some of the other ideas I've written about, I'd very much appreciate that.